Right. Morning. Put your name if you're in the chat, please. Put your name in if you're in the chat. Good morning. Put your name if you're in the chat, please. Put your name. Where's Atle? Atle, good morning. Where are you? Atle? Vic, I can see you. Where is Atle? Atle is not live with us. Why? Can you put your names again in the chat if you're in the chat? I can see it's only you and I, Vic. Put your name again if you're in the chat, please. If you're alive, put your name in the chat if you're alive. All right, let me check on him. Okay, so can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me now? Okay, Abbott, I say you can hear me. Atle, can you hear me? Okay, great. So I was saying in our last lesson for C, we were talking about the statements, guys. We were talking about the statements. And we did a lot of exercises. Here we want to be. The great thing with what we are doing now is there's going to be some consistency, okay? Everything we are doing is being recorded. So I want you to be able to come back and watch it back and, so that you can be able to just continue and build up from where you would have left, okay? This is very, 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 very important for us. So let's do some. Remember, last time I gave you formats and I left, I should bring the other version, the other print, I'll bring it. I left one paper there. I don't know who has it. Let's continue with what we were doing. I'm going to open a new. Right. We know that we know about the if-else statement. We know about the this. What I want to teach you right now is the do statement, the do while. We talk about some codes that you're going to use it. Let me explain to you what happens. So everybody, we know that I kept saying it, and I did a lot of examples with you, and I'm continuing here. We know that in computer science, we should, number one, you should know how to input a value and output a value. You should know how to receive a value and output it. You should know how to make a computer receive a value, know how to make a computer in C. And I know that all of you now know that. We've done so many codes. Then now you should be able to make it process those values, okay? You should make it do some processing. So do some processing. And that is where we talk about these statements. It's called programming construct, what you are learning. So there's input and there's output, right? Then there's going to be something we call programming construct. It's what we have been talking about lately, right? In programming construct, what you are doing now is when we say you are learning programming construct, we are saying you are learning how you get a computer to do what you want it to do. There are things that you must do to get a computer to perform a certain task. So, for example, I will do more codes, okay? In programming construct, the first thing we know is that in programming construct, the first thing we know is that we need to make sure that our code, you should make sure that your code is in the right order. So what I want you to know is that if you want a computer to get a value from a user and then check that age, if it's above 18, so they see if the user is eligible to vote or whatever, make sure when you do that, you start by receiving, then you check, then I'll give the answer. If you write the code in the wrong order, then you're going to be in a problem, because the computer, when it's running a code, it goes line by line. So it's not going to read your code, then see, oh, he made a mistake, you put this. It won't do that. It will try to run it line by line the way you have written it. So the order matters. It's part of programming construct. Then part of programming construct, the other thing that we use, we are talking about the things that we use to make sure that the computer does what we want it to do as a programmer. Things that you must know to get a computer to perform a certain job. You want a computer to perform a certain job. So what you must be very good at is, number one, you must be good at making sure your code is in the right order. Right order. Then after that, you now need to know the statements, okay? And that's what we've been doing. So statements are two types, guys. We have two types of statements. We have what we call selection statements. Then here we have what we call the second type, which is going to be called iteration statements. Conditional statements, iteration statements. Here, in iteration statements, these are now things that we use to have the computer repeat a job over and over and over. If you want to have your computer repeat a certain job over and over and over and over and over, then what do? You are going to use an iteration statement, okay? An iteration statement will get the computer to repeat a certain job. A selection statement will get the computer to make a condition, to use a condition to make a choice. It's going to use a condition to make a choice. Okay? All right. So these are things, these are part of programming construct. You people are very smart. You now know this. So you'll be selection statements here, we talked about them, some of them. Let me put it like this so that I can show you. And we have iteration statements. So these are the two types of statements in we said how many things are in programming construct. Programming constructs, if we talk about them, they have three things. Number one, it's to make sure your code is in the right order. Okay, for programming constructs, right? The things that you use to make sure your code is in the right order. Then the second thing now is going to be the selection statements. You need to know the different selection statements and their formats in C with examples, okay? That's why I'm giving you examples. I'll give you some two examples for each of the selection statements or conditional statements. Then from there, you now need to know the iteration statements that work in C and their format as well, and some examples of when we use them. Because you're going to see when we have a lot of cases, when we want to make a lot of a decision from a lot of cases, I'm going to teach you right now something called a switch case statement. Okay? Do you understand? Guys, can you hear me? So we can say that the first programming construct is called sequence. So if somebody comes to you and say, do you know programming construct? You'll be like, yes. You are just telling me in programming construct how to control, as a programmer, how I can control the way a program is going to be run, how I make a computer to do things that I want. The first thing is I should make sure that I put something in the right order, okay? I should make sure that the instructions are in the order that I want the computer to follow. So I'm going to use the right order. Then I do selection statements. Which selection statements do you have now? So first programming construct is sequence. These are the tricks. After you do input and output and you do all the declaring your variables and whatever, now you are starting the code. That section that I was showing you last time, the hard part that people struggle with is now the first input and output is not a problem. When we get to programming construct, when you're now doing statements, that is where a lot of people struggle. So I want you to know, we've done the statements. We know how to do the if statement. We know how to do the if-else statement. We know how to do the if-else statement. We know how to do the if, else if statement. Okay, even if it has more than one else if, we have no idea. We know how to do it. Now, there is going to be, it's called a ladder, It's called a ladder, the else if ladder statement. Okay, sometimes that's what they call it. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Then there's going to be the 4th one called the switch case statement. Then you'd be done. These are, if you have a condition, you want to make when you want to test a condition, the way your program will run would depend on a certain condition. Once they say that, then we know we have to use a selection statement. We want to make a decision. If you want to make a program that can make a decision to say, please take check, it should check if the user is above 18 or below 18, and if the person is above 18, it should tell them that they are eligible to vote. If they are not, it should not. So that's a decision. It's going to look at your age, then it will decide on which of the two you belong to, the group that is eligible to vote or the group that is not eligible to vote. You understand? These are the if else. This is we're checking conditions, and we'll be using this if else statement, right? Now, there's going to be, when you have many options, guys, let me list the statements so that I can now explain maybe. In iteration statements, we have the for loop, okay? The loops that we use. We have the for loop, and I want to do very quick examples. We have the for loop, then we have the while loop, and I'll explain. Okay, I'll explain why these different things are there, because a lot of people, even grown-ups who do this, do not understand. Okay, there's the while loop. We can just put do while loop. Okay, do while loop. Then we have, I don't know, for iteration statement, the repeat until and see, I'm not sure. So there's this one. You please put these 3 and you'll be done. I don't want you to write repeat until, because not in C, okay? We won't use it in C. But we'll talk about it when you do some pseudocode for your IGCSE exams. Okay, so about Len Atle and Tabang, what is the most important thing so far? I want all of you to know that what I'm doing right now is I am trying to learn the things that are going to help me to make a code obey me. I want to have a code which is going to make decisions. Okay, I've done these input, output, whatever. I now know them. I know how to declare my variables. I know how to get input and output, which is not easy. Okay, you have to know all your data types. You know, we talked about a lot of things, yeah? But here we are looking at the crunch part. We did some codes, but here I wanted you to understand why we are doing these codes, and we can continue now. We are doing these codes because we are teaching you what to do when you are going to meet a certain situation, because what we're going to give you is we're going to give you a problem. You are going to sit down as a programmer and you're going to design the solution. But when you design the solution, there's always going to be a reason why you're going to choose a certain path. And we are giving you the different options so that you know how to choose. I'm saying to you, when you want to make a code that will make a decision, you use selection statements. And I want you to know, for selection statements, we know that if statement, you're going to just say, if you have one thing, if this, then do this. There is no else. If you have 2 possible outcomes, you say, if this, then do that, else do that. That is if you have a code which has only 2 outcomes, right? If the person is below 8, if is above 18, then output, you are eligible to vote. Else, output, you are not eligible to vote. Because there are only 2 options. Either you are eligible or you are not eligible. So if you are going to do for only 2 conditions, if you want to test 2 conditions, you want your computer to do a decision between 2 things only, you use an if-else statement. If there are 3 or 4 or 5, you use an if then else if statement. But if there are many, so many, they keep going, you have to use the switch case statement. Do you hear me? Switch case statement is used when you have so many options. Okay? Do you understand? You use the switch case when you have many options. So what I want to do right now is I want to make this the last time that we are going to be doing the selection statements, so that we can go to different situations where you're going to need iteration statements. Okay, I want this to be the last time. So like I said, when you're going to have only two decisions to choose from, you're going to use an if-else statement. Okay, when you have only one possible outcome, a code, I'm going to give you an example of these situations of all four. When you have only one outcome that you want, you use an if statement only. Then when you have two possible outcomes, you use an if-else statement. So a simple code where you're going to have two possible outcomes, right? Then when you're going to have 3-4 outcomes of whatever, I'm going to use an if then else if statement. Okay, this multiple if else if whatever statement. Then I'm going to give you a very nice example when you're going to use the switch case statement. First, I'll give you the format because you are not good at that one. It's tricky. Then I'll give you a very nice example where you have a lot of different options and you have to use the switch case statement. Okay, just simple code, but very, very nice where you're going to use it in C, right? These are the examples that I want us to do. Okay? Then once we know these selection statements and we know when we use each of them, I can start to give you problems and I want you to give me an answer. You should be able to do the input and the output part. Then start these statements. Be careful, right? You should be able to do them, right? Okay. So let's just do these examples, right? First, let's do here. Make a code that tells the user, congratulations, if they have passed and are eligible to graduate. To be eligible to graduate, their mark should be above 50. So here, it's only supposed to say congratulations to somebody who has passed and keep quiet to somebody who has not passed. So the only thing, they didn't tell us it should say congratulations to somebody who has passed and to somebody who has not passed, better luck next time. No, it is only saying, it is only doing one thing only, just to say congratulations if you have passed. What about if you haven't passed? It should keep quiet. So let's put the solution now. What is the solution? The solution would be an if statement, okay? It's going to be an if statement, right? It's going to be an if statement. And your if statement is going to be, here's the format. You would say if, then you put your condition, then you open your braces. This is after all these input, output, whatever. We are looking at the most important thing, right? If, then you say condition, then you can put your braces like this. If you want to put them one step below, we still have no problem. Then you write your statements here. Then you're going to close. That's how you do it. Then you can continue with the rest of your program. But what we want to see is this format here. Guys, this is the hard part. This is where you focus on the construct here, the selection statement. In getting an input and an output, it's fine. So now let's do it. So we are going to say, let's start our code. hashtag include. Then we're going to say standard input output dot header file. Then you're going to say int main. Then we're going to open up like this. Then we're going to say int marks. Okay, remember we want to be able to get marks and see if the marks are going to make them eligible to graduate or not. So we are going to declare our variables. Remember, you start the main function. This part everybody knows, right? This part we all know. Hashtag include standard input output dot header file. Then we open our main function, right? We open our main function, so it's going to be opened here. Then we are going to say int marks. We're going to declare a variable called marks because we want to receive from the user. So this is still input and output. I don't want to see you fail input and output. You disappoint me a lot because we haven't even started our statement. We are just getting from the user here. We know how to get from the user, right? We know the format specifiers. We know the data types. You have to know that. You have to, guys. So now you're going to say output. How do you say output? Printf. Enter your mark. Enter your final mark. Right? Then you're going to say scanf. This is printf. Then you're going to say scanf %d and marks. Can you see? We receive the number here is going to put and we store it in marks. Then now we start our selection statement. If marks, okay, you put in braces, by the way. If marks is greater than or equal to 50, then you open, you say printf congratulations. Congratulations. Okay. If you want to printf just to say congratulations, it's fine. Then you're going to say, you close your statement and you say return 0. Then you close the main function, which is the one you opened here. The only line we did not terminate is the if condition. So that is what we say. Everybody should be able to look here. This is the part where we did our selection statement here. The rest was just input and output. You should be fine with that part. This is the part which you should know in a code. You should be able to look at a code and see, oh, okay, it starts the if, what. This is what the code is about. The rest is receiving. Enter your final mark, then it receives that mark. But now it's going to check the conditions. Are we agreeing here? Are we? Atle and Abatle, are we agreeing? Okay, I see Atle there. Abatle, are we agreeing? Victorson. Where is Victorson? Victorson. Victorson. I want my notes at 12 exact. please. I want my notes at 12 exact. Make sure, guys. Okay, you send me the pictures at 12. Now, this is for only one possible outcome. Let's do for two possible outcomes. What do you do if you have two possible outcomes? You're a programmer and you've been tasked to do a code. Then you look at this code and you see, this one has two possible outcomes. This one is only two possible outcomes. What are we going to do now? When we say, this code only has two possible outcomes. So let's do an example of a code with only two possible outcomes. Okay? We'll use the if-else statement. You want to check if a number is even or odd. So there are only two things here. It can either be even or it will be odd. There's no in between. There's no third thing. There's no fourth thing. It's either going to be even or odd. So what are you going to do now? Let's do the code. Example. We said you use the if else. Example. I want for all these codes that we are doing, these very same codes, but I want us to make them receive from a user, okay? So for the two possible outcomes, the command would be, write a code that receives a number from a user, right? Then checks if it is even or odd. You understand that? So I'm writing, then checks if it is even or odd. These are two possible outcomes. Right. Let's see now. That's right. Solution. This is where you're a programmer. You're going to use an if-else statement here. Mr. Programmer, please use the if-else statement. Let's quickly do it, guys. So you're going to say hashtag include. Then you open, I'm going to be moving fast because of our time. Standard input output dot header file. Then you're going to say int main, the main function, we declare it, then we open. Then here we're going to say int, we're going to get a number, right? That receives a number and checks. So you're going to say, now we are starting with, because we've done the main function, we've opened it up. These are the opening lines. Now we are just going to receive a number. This input and output, come on now. We know we are going to receive, so we have to declare a variable. So you're going to say int, we call it number maybe, or num or whatever. You can say number, int number. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say printf below here. I'll say printf, enter a number, enter a number. Enter a number like this. Then you terminate. Then I want you to then say scanf, scanf %d, then you say end number. Okay, it's going to put in the variable you declared. It's going to put in the variable you declared. I know you guys understand all this. Okay, we declared the variable number. We talked about this many, many times. I know you understand it now. And we stored into that we stored in that variable. Okay, that's great. So we keep going now. Now we can start our selection statement. So this is where I want everybody to open up their eyes, because this is the most important part now. That is where a lot of people lose marks. Come on now. If number, you guys are way too good. I'm not going to let that happen. We're going to master this, guys. I know that. We now write if number. Okay. If you remember to open your, please, if the moment you put the word if, open the parenthesis. If, then you're going to say number, the modulus of it when you divide by 2. If the modulus is 0. So remember when we are checking, if it's a condition, you put 2 equal signs, okay? If the modulus is equal to 0, then now you tell it. Print f. Then you say, print f, the number is even. Okay? You put it. Then what do? You close. Then what do? You write else. Then what do? You open. Okay? Because the if part is done, we are on else now. Else, print f. If you get, remember modulus is the remainder. Modulus means remainder. So they're saying if you get a remainder of 0 when you divide by 2, please, you should know that the number is even. Else, if that doesn't happen, the number is odd. Because we only have 2 functions, even or odd. You don't have to tell it what to do for the number to be odd. Just say else, print f, the number is odd. Because it won't be even. If it's not going to meet the conditions for even, it is obviously odd. So we don't even have to waste our energy and our time. Then you can now close the main function. Return 0. Then you close the main function. There we go. Okay, well done. That's just going to be how you do this, because it only has 2 outcomes. Anyone with a question? Okay, so let's put now the one which I've been using to make a school management system for you, okay? A cloud-based school management system. I've been making a cloud-based, so we're just working around. Let's see how did they do this code which can do this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'll show you. I'll send the picture in the group of the thing that I'm doing, which is giving you your grades, your everything, the students and stuff. It's amazing, guys. It is amazing. Trust me, it's the best. And all your marks are recorded. Let me show you in the group. Check your WhatsApp group. This is what I want us to do. So we are going to do, there's a behind the scenes that has been done here for this. For you guys, I want you to learn how to now do it, okay? Then you're going to have somebody that can do this, something that can do this. Look at the picture I sent in the WhatsApp group. You see that? Look at the picture I sent in the WhatsApp group. You see, it can do marks. What is an A star? What is an A? What is a B? What is a C? Okay, I'm going to fix, okay? I'm finishing to fix, but it uses the if. When you change, it just goes and changes the code to say if mark is going to be this, then do this if mark. So now all I have to do is put the marks for the exercises I gave you guys. That is what I'm now just doing. And it is recording them. What is doing this? It is the statements. It's the statements, guys. It's the statements. Are we together, guys? It's the statements that is doing this. Okay, so now, there we go. So that's so important, right? These are the statements. So here will be an example. Now we are going to do the third one. Now we are doing the third one. Third one, we're going to have a bit of some outcomes. Let's say we want to have about 4-5 possible outcomes. You know, we want to get an A, you want to get a B, you want to get a C, then a D, you want to show what a D is, right? So it's not way too much. It's different from one where we are going to say something that will be checking what day of the week it is, okay? To say you're going to put, to say this is my 5th day, or this is my 7th day. Let's say you're doing from Sunday to Sunday, or from Sunday to Saturday. You're doing a certain process. So you'll be just checking, this is my 3rd day. So you're going to say this is your 3rd day. Then the computer tells you what day of the week it is. That's a little bit more. So because that's a little bit more and there are a little more outcomes, we're going to use the switch case statement. If there are way too many, you'd want to say if, else, if, else, if, else, if, else. Hey, no. Because the else, if, else, if, else, if, else, if, else, if, you're going to work hard. If you see the conditions being too many, then you're going to use the switch case. But if you see the conditions be 4 or something, you can use the if, else, if statement. You understand? So that's the one we're going to be doing here. So let's say they're saying, write a program that receives marks. That's the program I just sent you on your WhatsApp, that receives marks from the user. By the way, I fixed yesterday's lessons. They are no longer private, so you can go back and watch them if you want. That receives marks from the user, and prints the grade. So we wanted to receive marks from the user and print the grade. So here is the grading system. Use the following grading system. The Cambridge one. We want to use the grading system for Cambridge. So use the following grading system. Let's use it. The grading system they want us to use. What is that grading system? The grading system that they want you to use to make the code that will receive marks. So it's going to be marks. Only you can do this, a programmer. They want to have it to be able to receive marks and tell the grade and whatever. Come on, you can do this. Make a solution for them. Come on now, you can do it. So you're going to just sit down and say, okay, there are how many possible outcomes? I'm doing a decision here. I'm going to get a mark and the computer should then make a decision what grade to give this person. So because a decision is being made, we are going to use a selection statement because we're making a decision. Okay, we're going to receive an input and make a decision. So that is going to be a selection statement right there. So we're going to say, fine, what is the mark if you get 80 plus? Let's put if you get 90% going up, then you're going to get an A star. Then if you get 80 to 89, you're going to get an A. Then if you get 70 to 79, these are the Cambridge grades, you'd have gotten a B, my friend. The 60 to 69 is the C. If you go below that, wow, you're in trouble. 50 to 59 is now a D. It just keeps getting worse and worse until you're at U. We can have these, it's enough. Let's end at D. Let's say nobody gets below D. Okay, that's a decent school then. That's a decent school. Are we together, guys? let us make it now. You'll be like, let me start by making the main things that never change. So solution. There are things that don't change. Hashtag include, then you say standard input output dot header file. Then now you're going to say int main, okay? You declare the main function. Then you're going to say your int marks. Int marks, okay? We are now starting, because we've started the main function, so we will start it here. Then now we are going to receive, okay? Let's do the input and the output. Input and output, you're going to, because you're going to input, you're going to get a value from the user. You have to declare the variable, and this value we're getting from a user is just a number. So we're going to declare a variable called max, which will be an integer, right? It will be an integer because we're just getting a number from the user. Then you're going to say printf. You're now telling the user now, enter your marks. Enter your marks. Then you're going to say scanf %d and marks. Then now we have received, okay? We've done our input and output. Now we can start our code. We're going to say if, then we say marks. We start with the highest. We said marks greater than or equal to what? 90. So 90 going up. If marks are greater than or equal to 90. We're now starting, right? So you say if, then you put in your thing. So greater than or equal to is greater than, then you say or equal to 90, like this. Then you're going to say here, printf. Okay, say you open, you now say printf. Then you open, you're going to say grade is A star, A plus. Then you say now, you close it. Then you say else if, okay? Because it's not the last one. We'll only say else on the very last condition. So else if the mark is 80 to 89 now. So else if marks, this is what you're going to do now. Else if marks greater than or equal to 80. Then what do you do? Else if marks are greater than, you don't have to put these, by the way. You don't have to put these. If marks are greater than or equal to 80, you put in parentheses like this. Then you open your thing to say what should happen. Printf, the grade. Grade is an A. Then you close. Then you're going to say again, else if. Else if. We are now on B, 70 to 79. Then we do C. Else if you now say marks are greater than or equal to 70. Then you open your thing. Okay? You're going to say printf. Printf, always open, then close after the statements. So here it's going to printf. What grade do you want here? Grade is B. Then you terminate, of course. Okay, terminate. Then you're going to close it. You're going to close it. Then you're going to say else if. You're now going to say marks, the variable you declared, is greater than or equal to 60. You open. You say printf. You're going to say you got a grade C. Your grade is C. Then you terminate. Are you seeing this? Okay, so yes, we're now saying the grade is C, and you close it. Then now we'll do the last one because we are on the last one. So you just say else, then you open. Okay? Here you should close it like this. Should close it. Then you now say else, you open. You're going to say printf. Because it's the last one now. You say grade is D. You terminate. Then you close. Then the whole thing will be closed here at return 0. Then you're going to close the main function. We'll close it. And this is gonna be it. So the things were not way too much, so we use the if else statement. Okay? Now, you've seen the if else statement. Now we want a very good one, which is not days of the week or something, but we want a very good one which uses the switch case statement. That's the one we want to do right now, okay? Which uses the switch case statement, a very nice and easy but practical, which has many different options that you'd need to use if you are to meet something like this. Right. I want to put it, and you'd be done. I'll be happy because you've been knowing. I want to give you a small example. Switch case statements is used. They are used in ATMs. Okay, like to put the many different options for an ATM or for calculator. These all use, but so we have these ATM codes and we have these things that use the switch case statement. But I want something which is very simple because you guys are just at Form 2 level. So I want the easiest I can have for the switch case statement. Because I don't want it to be too complicated for you guys. I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand how we can do that. So let me show you. Let me show you. I want to show you the format first, because it's the format is a little bit of a problem for some people. So I want to show you the format and what it really means. Okay. Let me say here format. I want you to say, you're going to say switch. You're going to say switch, then you're going to put an expression in here. Then you're going to start to put your different situations. So you're going to say case, then you put what happens if I have this value. So you'd say value 1, then you put the statement below here. So you're going to be saying, so it's switch is at the top. Then you start to put the cases. Okay? Switch is at the top. So we want to start putting, so you say switch at the top, then you're going to start to put the cases. Case, then you put value 1. And after that, you put the statement. Then you say break. Then you're going to say case. Then you're going to put value 2. Then you're going to put the statements below. Then you're going to say break. It's going to be very fast. Then you say case. Then you put the third option. So you're going to say now value 3. Then you're going to put the statement here. Then you're going to say break. So it's going to help you to be able to run. There are many different things that can happen. Like on an ATM, you can deposit, you can withdraw, you can check the balance, you can do all that. You can deposit into another account, you can deposit into your account. It's going to put the different options because you have many different options. So you can use a switch case. You don't say if, then if, oh, no. So you'll be using the, okay? So you can have then this value 3. And then you can now say here, you're going to say here, default. Then you put dots like this, these 2 dots. Then you put the final statement. You're going to put the statement here, a statement here. Then you terminate. Then you're going to close the switch case statement. And I'll be so happy. You would have made me so proud. This will be an amazing job from you guys. Do you understand? So what do? You're going to put the choice, okay? You say switch, then you put the choice in here. What goes in here is the choice. Then this is going to be case 1. Okay, in here, what goes in here, this is going to be the choice. Switch, then you put the choice. Okay? The program will check. When you put this, you'll be saying, let me say this. You'll be having, the expression is going to be the value that you want to check. Then you start to put the possible values, okay? So if you get, let me give you an example so people can understand. Because we'll be saying, in case 1, do this. In case 2, do this. In case 3, you do this. Okay? Right. The value that has been entered basically in here, that is going to be the one that will determine. So the value that a person has entered is going to be the one that will determine. If a person puts the first value, then they're going to get this statement. If a person puts the value that will be for condition number 2, they'll get that statement. If a person puts a value, so it will be a value. It'll be a value. So that's the nice thing. So it'll be a value that will be used to check the different options. Okay, to be a value that will be used to check the different options. Let's say maybe you want to check if somebody has thousands of dollars, or is a millionaire or a billionaire, or I don't know, something like that. You know, the different wealth, or whatever you want to check. You can be having the different cases, the different values that represent each case in this switch case statement. You understand? For an example like that, let me say, I'm going to write here, I want you to say example. Let's put it in, let's say here. I want to say here. I want you to say here. What I want you to know is that every option is represented by a value. So whatever option the user is going to be a certain thing, but whatever answer they have is going to be represented by a value, guys. So we are going to represent whatever answer the user is going to put by a value. The different cases are represented by a value. So you're going to say, man, if you're going to put 1,000, that is going to be case 1. If you're going to put 1,000,000, that is going to be case 2. If you're going to put 1 billion, that is going to be case 3. So let's put it here so that you understand. Let's put an example. This is going to be a program that checks the wealth level of somebody. So wealth level of somebody, we just have 3 wealth levels, but of course you may get somebody who will eventually be a trillionaire. Right? So let's put the cases. You're going to say here, first include, hashtag include, example, a code that checks a code to classify a person's wealth level. So if we just have many different options, a person's wealth level, you can use this statement. It's easier if you want to check a person's wealth level. Okay, what I want you to know is that all the different levels, all the different outcomes, you should then represent them with values first, so that the computer is going to choose which case it is. Okay, you're going to represent them with different values, all the different things. So you're going to tell the person, if you have thousands in your bank account, press 1. If you have 1,000,000 in your bank account, press 2. So every output will be represented by a number. So then the computer will be able to take all the different things because it has a number for each of the different things. So it has made the job easier. So let's say here, you're going to say here, a person's wealth level, okay? So you're going to have it like this, value. We are going to put values for each wealth level, because the only way to run this switch case statement is we need values, okay? We need values. So value, if a person puts 1, that means they are 1,000 there. They have only thousands in their bank account, okay? That means that person only has thousands in their bank account. If a person puts the value 2, that means they are a millionaire. If a person puts the value 3, that means they are a billionaire. Okay, in terms of Pula, you can have a trillionaire. So if a person puts the value 4, that means they are a trillionaire. That means they are a trillionaire. So we are going to ask them, how many Pulas do you have? We should be able to know. Remember, every option is going to be represented by a value. So NB, I want you to put NB to show you are a superstar. I'm counting on you guys. I am counting on you. You can't let me down. So we can use numbers. This is going to be the last thing we're going to do, and I'll give you examples of codes. You try them, and I'll be helping you when you write to represent each level. Remember, it's so important to have marks nowadays. So everything you're going to do, I'm going to give you some form of work. I showed you, right, the school management system that I have now for you guys. So everybody has their own account. You can see there it has teachers, it has students. You have a login platform, you have a dashboard, you have all these things. So that's so important for us, guys. That is just so important for us. So get ready for it. Right, that's so important. So it's going to be important for me to give you work for anything, huh? It's going to be important for me to give you work for anything. So let's go now. We're going to say, here's our C program. We're going to say hashtag include, then we're going to say here, hashtag include, okay? Then we say standard, then we say input output dot header file. Then now what are we going to do? We're going to say here int main. We declare the main thing, int main. Then now we are starting, okay? We are starting. So we want to what? We want to check the wealth level. But what is going to represent wealth levels? What is going to represent wealth levels is going to be numbers. Numbers will represent wealth levels. So everything in a switch statement is represented by a value. We can make a switch statement to check days of the week. We can make a switch statement to do everything, but all the different situations will be represented by a number. So that is going to be where I'm going to have to grill it into you guys. I always want my people to understand, my students. So I know where it's hard in this statement. I know where it is hard. So I'm going to keep saying those things until you understand. So remember, we are representing wealth level. And wealth level is going to be either millionaire, billionaire, thousandaire. That is what you are going to get on the screen to say you are a millionaire or whatever. But in terms of us, of the cases, it's going to be ones and twos and whatever, the different situations. So I want you to say int level, okay? Int level. Int level. That is the one which we're going to use on the cases, eh? Say int level. Now, let's go into do here. Printf, we're now going to talk to the user. Say printf, then we'll say enter your wealth level. Enter your wealth level. Okay. Then we are going to output several different things in one. So when you're outputting, remember here, when you want to output, when you have different printfs, you should put this backward slashing n so that you skip to the next line. Okay, your outputs, when you have outputs that are just following each other, remember to put backward slash n. So we are going to put another printf here. We're giving you the options. We're going to say enter your wealth level. If you choose 1, it means you are 1,000 there, okay? Backward slash n. So the option 1 is for everything should be represented by a value. Then printf, you're going to say level 2. Level 2 is going to be millionaire. You're already telling the user that level 2 is going to be millionaire. If we put you on level 2, you'll be a millionaire. Okay? That's what you're going to. You know how you're going to tell the computer, but you're telling the user. You're telling the user to say print. You're telling them this is all this that we are saying printf will appear on the screen. 3 is going to mean billionaire. So enter your wealth level using a value, right? If it's 3, you're a billionaire, sir. Then if it is 4, so printf. Then I want you to say printf again. If it is going to be 4, that means you are now a trillionaire. So it means you're a trillionaire. Okay, you're showing the user. This is still input output, so don't worry about this part. Okay? So printf. So printf, enter your wealth level. So this is first going to be right. Enter your wealth level. Then you show them there are different things. So now you're going to say, it's going to print again now. You skip a line. You're now going to say printf here, enter your choice. Enter your choice. They should now enter their choice. We want the user to enter their choice. Then now you're going to scan that choice. What is that level they are going to put? They're going to put a value. We take values. For switch case that we are about to do now, we take values because we are about to start the switch case. But everything should be represented by a value. For switch case, everything is represented by a value. I wrote level. Where is it? Enter your wealth level. Okay. Well done. So percentage D and level. Now let's start. We are now going to be testing. We are now going to say, here's what you do. You say switch, then you put the value. So you're going to say level. You know that what is going in here is a value. So you're going to tell them, hey guys, we are about to do the different levels. So you say switch level. That's how you start the case. That's how you start this code. Okay, you say switch level. So you're going to get an answer. You're telling it, here are the different things I want for the answers. If a person puts 1, now you're going to tell them, case 1. That means if a person puts 1, print F. Print F. You are 1,000 there, sir. You are 1,000 there. Okay? Then you're going to say break. I say case, you print F, then below you say break. You say break, then when you say break, you terminate. Then you're going to skip, you say case 2 now. Case 2 means what? If the user puts 2, because switch is always 1, 2, 3, 4. If the user puts 2, so for all the options, you should always do 1, 2, 3. Represent them by a number, please. So you're now going to say case 2. If the user prints 2, you're telling the computer, if the user say presses 2, then you should say, you are a millionaire. You are a millionaire. Then you terminate. Then you say what? Break. Then you say case 3. You don't put this, you put dot dot, okay? Case 3. That means if the user presses 3, okay? If the user presses 3, then please print F. You are a billionaire. You are a billionaire. Okay? That's for print. Then you say break. Then you can say now case 4. Case 4. If the user presses 4, print F. You are a trillionaire. So you can check a lot of things. We'll do more codes, don't worry. But you can check a lot of things, okay? But look at this one. It does so fast. Then you say break, okay? Then you're going to say break. Remember, it's always case. You put the statements, then you say break. Then here, you go down. You're going to say default. If they press anything else which is not here, you should print F. Default means if they press anything, any option which is not on the options, you should say invalid option. It's now going to tell you invalid option. Then you can close the case statement. Then you can now close the main function. You'd say return 0, terminate, then you close the main function. Look at how nice this is. This is where you should learn. Don't worry about these things that are going to be written on the screen. All of you can do that. Just to tell a user to say choose an option, that is, all of you can do that. But here on the switch, you say switch, then you put the level. Level is going to be what? It's going to be the choice we will get from the user. User will put their choice as a level, and we start testing the level. So here, level is tested here. These are all levels, depending on what the user presses. So these are the cases. The cases are for the levels. And then we have this default where the user presses a level which is not existent. So that means either that person doesn't have thousands or that person has more than 1 trillion. Wow. Really? Has more than trillions? Yes. Wow. So So we'll talk about that. These are the situations. So this is going to be it. I'll do more examples, but this is going to be it for computer science. Is there anyone with a question here? Is there anyone with a question on the selection statements? Okay, so if there's no question, I'm happy. Right, what we're going to do now is I'm going to send some questions you quickly do for me. Then we're